And I remember having this conversation with you said, "Scott, what do you wanna do? Like, do you wanna rip up the whole thing? No problem,
Yeah.
and go with a different material."
Yeah.
Like, obviously, that's really extreme, and I don't think anyone ever wanted that situation.
Right. So we're here with Scott Mathieu, good friend of mine. We built this pool last year, and I want to talk about everything that he went through because we went through some shit, we went through some good, and it was a cool experience because we got to work together. And we both grew up in Maine. We didn't know each other till we came to Houston, and we were playing beer league hockey. And clearly, we're from Maine. We play hockey, so we're legends, and we stick out. So we became friends quickly, obviously, because of that. And then as we got older, past 10 years, now we have kids, and with kids comes swimming pools and nicer homes and all that stuff. So I'll just let you talk about, your process and when the time was for you to buy swimming pools. Because did you want it or did Blair want a pool?
We both wanted it. So we were originally in the Heights, in a 3-story townhouse,
Right.
and
You were like, "Can you put a pool here?" And I'm
yeah,
like, "No."
that's right. Your initial concept when we got married, I think you gave us like a rendering of a pool at that house because our neighbors had a pool, but the access into that, yeah, I mean, it was like 3 foot. You couldn't get any
Right.
machinery to be hand dug. But we always knew our next house would either have a pool or we would make sure that was like our must have,
Right.
would have room for a pool. So when this opportunity came up, we knew exactly, what we wanted and the space requirements.
So it was a goal for you to
Absolutely.
I think that's a lot of people's goal in this world. I know it sounds weird, but some people want cars, some people want pools, some people like big houses, some people like, whatever they buy,
Yeah.
So cool. That's cool. That was your
Yeah.
goal.
And especially, knowing you and what you do and seeing your products,
Right.
right? And having the social presence and seeing it, every time I open up Instagram, I see some sort of real.
I know that guy.
Yeah, I'm like, I know him. And which was funny because when we bought this house, there was an open lot beside us.
Right.
And it got sold to another couple that live in the neighborhood, and they wanted to build a pool. And they asked who we were using. We said Regal, and they said, "No way, we have a rendering. We worked with Jesus
Yeah.
here for our pool, and it's an empty lot
This is like middle of the city,
in the
Houston.
middle of city Houston Memorial area."
Oil. Yeah.
And so it's just having that following for you and having the social presence
Did
really.
they start the pool yet?
No, they just started building their
They do.
initial framing. They only have like the first floor on.
So that's a cool thing is that Scott had bought a existing house that he was remodeling, and then the neighbors bought the dirt and they were building new. So there's different ways to approach building a pool. There's lots of different ways. One way is me telling you, no, don't build this here because it's not worth it. And you would have blown 100 grand.
Yeah,
But but you wanted it, but I think I pretty much fought it a little bit because
Yeah.
it wasn't like good.
yeah, exactly.
It's like move, dude.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, from start to finish, coming in with Blair, my wife, and
Yep.
her vision, and it was us sitting
She's a
down.
designer of she does
She does
do
corporate
events.
communications,
Right.
so she does like anything from internal or external media to internal communication things.
Got it.
But she has a very keen eye for detail.
She's detailed. For
Yeah,
sure.
and so
That's who we work with a lot, and that's who we work for, honestly. Blair's no different than anybody else we work for. People are successful, they expect good shit, and
Yeah.
that's what we're here to deliver.
yeah, and I mean, she had our TV move for 1/8 of an inch.
She's awesome. Your house is really nice.
Yeah, so, I mean, just having that keen eye for quality, I think is something that.
Helped me and you during the process.
Yeah, I mean, we came in here how many times to
Yeah.
do, renderings and breaking out the notebooks and scribbling, what we think, our vision is, and to make it come to fruition is really impressive.
And then so this weekend, he sent me a picture of him in his hot tub, and I'm like, "Oh, shit, you're coming in."
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how it's sparked, 'cause I was like, I love those texts when people are like, "Hey, this is badass. Thanks, man." You're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, hey, thanks for your business." And then if you do that to me, if you ever need anything on a Saturday night, unless I'm sleeping, because I go to bed early, this dude will text me at 9. I'm like, "Dude, I'm already sleeping." I texted you back at 1 when I woke up in the
Yeah.
middle of the night
Yeah.
just to mess with you, but,
I was still awake, by the way.
were you
Yeah.
we'll answer, we'll help you, we'll troubleshoot, or we'll say, "Hey, don't touch it, just leave it till next week, we'll walk you through," like we did with NARC last week, where
Yep.
the heater had the rocks kinda back pressure thing.
Yeah, yep.
Because sometimes I don't know how to fix it, but there's a lot of people here somebody here knows how to fix it. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
awesome about our team. Okay, so talk more about your experience from the beginning to the end, and just talk.
Yeah, from beginning to end, coming in with an initial idea of what we wanted, going through the rendering process, picking out the material selections, bringing those to the house, seeing what goes with what. Really just trying to fine tune everything, and then even as the process started, right? We had some maybe materials that we had, and we're like, well, is this really right?
It was weird because
You came out, you remember we were actually on vacation
yeah,
in Florida, and you came out to the house saying, "Well, I just really wanna make sure that this back wall, because that's the focal point of the
yeah,
pool, was right."
even
And
the
so
tile line.
yeah, even the
So this goes into the point, like, when we order material, and it's this vendor we had just started working with, and they come into our office and they give me something that looks amazing, and we put it on one pool, which led me to have confidence to put it on your pool because I just seen it,
right.
and I'm like, "No, do this one because I just saw it." Well, those pallets were not as good, and so Scott and his wife are dealt with hand picking through this stuff. So I was telling him before we started is that we don't work with that vendor anymore because they are a pain in the ass. They don't have the inventory. They do sell you a bunch of shit, like a crock of shit. They're full of shit.
Yeah.
And now we have basically one or two vendors that we only work with, not just because of this, but because of several situations we've been in along the way that really you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
But we went through it.
I
We
think
figured it out.
I think for anyone going through this process, is you're exactly right. You're giving a sample that they want to be the best of the best,
Yeah.
right? Jesse, who was our project manager, he was quick to the gun too and saying, these pallets are not right. There was stains. And he just
We don't
rejected,
lie to you.
right?
You
Yeah.
know, we're real.
So he rejected pallets and brought more in, and making sure that the vendor came out to look at
Yeah.
to see what we saw.
So then let me cut you off. I had to tell the vendor they suck. So they wouldn't sell to us anymore.
Yeah,
And I had to have my friend buy it from them.
that's right.
And they're jackasses because of that. And they wear a jacket. So every time I see them, I just remind them with a look, you suck.
Yeah.
And they know.
Yeah, our process, so, from initial construction, from initial dig to all the way through gunite to, we were moving, tile and coping was starting, and like I said, that back wall is really the focal point of our pool, and with a 24 by 24-inch tiles, and, um, and we had one tile that was literally I wanna write a book about this tile.
It's crazy
Because it
like
delayed everything for so long, but it was, again, going back to tile manufacturer or distributor.
yeah.
They tried telling us, "You put it on backwards, this isn't our material." They kinda went,
They tried to
trying
sell
to
us, but
avoid.
we didn't try to sell you.
Yeah, that's right.
We were in it
I
with
mean,
you.
it came down to a point where this one tile, and I remember having this conversation with you said, "Scott, what do you wanna do? Like, do you wanna rip up the whole thing? No problem,
Yeah.
and go with a different material?"
Yeah.
Like, obviously, that's really extreme, and I don't think anyone ever wanted that situation,
Right.
but it goes to show the Regal kind of standing behind your customer and product,
Yeah.
that you're willing to take that hit, and I was like,
It wasn't even
friends."
it wasn't about money. It was more
All the
like
coping,
yeah.
all the decking, it's all the same, right? So it wasn't just about the whole pool, it was everything,
Right.
right? And
I
so
didn't want to put Blair through it, but I had to tell you real talk, like, "Do you want me to do this?" And you're like you were super reasonable. You're like, "Give me the weekend." I'm like, "All right." And then Monday, we just came up with a solution. We move forward
yeah,
because you're a solution-based guy.
yeah,
That's what we do.
it took us all to kind of find the query, where do they source this stuff from? Because they couldn't be the only distributors that has this stuff, right? So,
Well,
and
what's
then
amazing now
it does. It looks amazing.
yeah,
And we got through the one tile.
yeah, the one tile. That's crazy. It was one tile. The thing looks like a piece of art now in your back. I'm glad you're taking that post out
Yep.
because that you're probably just tired of running into that thing. You're like, I have
Well,
everything
the way
else
we
to
had
say.
the furniture, really wasn't
For sure.
really wasn't a pass-through issue. It was like when you're in the pool
Uh-huh.
and the TV's on, you couldn't see the TV because that pole was right in your right in the
Right.
way.
So if you have an existing house and you have a bunch of poles in it, you can or posts, 6x6 posts, they added that on years ago. We found out through your survey because your survey was trash, but
Right.
we worked through that. But you can add an engineered beam across it and then open up that entire span.
Yeah, we did a 24-foot engineer
Engineered.
beam.
So that was at like 8, 10 grand,
I think
5.
3,500.
Oh shit, you got the guy.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Your guy.
Yeah, my guy. Call us. We got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those are the
It
things
was
like
Miguel's friend.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, so if we have like so if you need a painter, I call you the painter, right?
Yeah.
We are those people. It's not like we're trying to make a buck off everything. If you called me and I was like, I call Miguel and be like, hey, give me $100 extra a room. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I just want him to come to my jobs when I need him to, because he comes to my house like 4 times a year because I'm OCD.
Right.
I have kids and they nick my walls and he makes it easy, right?
Yeah.
And he leaves and you're just like, man, that was so reasonable.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just a reasonable guy. So we do that with not just you, but anybody. We have great people and great connections. I was just in there and Jesus was talking about, like, he literally referred to one of our home builders as somebody who's going to build a 20,000 square foot home, and we don't get anything from that. We don't care. We just want the relationship and we want to be able to build the pool.
And it's amazing when you find in these quality contractors like Clark Kraft, the landscape architect, right? Like, I mean, he works with your design team to also help big stuff because the pool's one thing, and then you have all the landscaping, all of your vision. I mean, we have 4 columns.
So much did you spend on landscaping?
I think it was around 54.
50.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to think when you build a pool, and that was with turf. You turfed your entire backyard.
Yeah, we had a putting green in the back of the.
So that was a chunk.
Yeah,
That was probably 10 or 20.
yeah.
But when you're done with the pool, you
we
also
have
have
52. We planted 52 of the Spartan junipers.
yeah, hell yeah.
And so those
They have those
the
in
perimeter around the.
It was in Maine.
Yeah, exactly.
That's correct.
But our idea is we don't want a fence.
Yeah.
And the way our lot is, we have power lines behind us and then alongside of us because we're at like an intersection point.
Right.
And so we wanted something to grow tall to mask, kind of block out those power lines as much as we could.
So city pools, you have to deal with a lot of different things, including drainage. But you were grandfathered in, but you had there's some weird 500-yard floodplain. There's just every little element of the city has something that we have to work through in order to get you a permit. Because you probably don't even remember that, but I remember dealing with that.
Yep. But we're still dealing with it.
We're still dealing with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get because we need the meter.
Yeah.
Upgrade.
They're so weird about it.
So the previous owners of our house didn't close out permits from Harvey. And so there's still final inspection permits that haven't taken place. And so the city cut us off and said, when we applied for the permit for the
center point.
Yeah,
to get a high pressure regulator.
Yeah.
So that way you could feed your fireplace correctly.
Yeah, the fireplace. We have, a fireplace inside, outside.
So there's things that we can't control. One of them is your gas pressure, because Centerpoint, they're a little bit of a conglomerate and you have to work through them, and then you have to work through the city, and you're not really talking to anybody. You're submitting through a portal now since COVID. So living in the city, realize it's going to take you more time to build your pool. It's going to cost more. And you're going to have to deal with some landscaping because you don't want to see the fence, like you said.
Yeah.
I want to see the
Power lines, fencing.
Yeah.
So
remember you were buying a house in the city. I was like, dude, move to the burbs. It's easier. I would literally say that. You're like, dude, I'm not going. She's not going back.
I think that was at all my, my decision.
She's not going to Katy. If I bought a house there, I'd have a mansion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Was there anything else you want to talk about enjoying your pool? Like, you have 2 kids. They're in it all the time. 2 boys.
Yeah, I will say, we spend every weekend in the pool.
That's awesome.
And we didn't want a really deep end, so we went 5.5 foot at our maximum depth. And I think that's enjoyable. And obviously in the summer times we do have a darker, bottom.
Same with me. You had midnight blue, and we added a ton of flake into yours.
That's right. And so the chiller is really something to take into consideration.
And we added that after.
Yeah.
Because you're like, shit, this is hot.
Yeah. It heats up pretty quick.
Does it?
Yeah.
Because of the midnight.
But I mean, the chiller can keep it at bay at 87 or below. And I also like using it in the hot tub. I'll turn it on and get that thing down to 50 degrees.
Yeah.
Plop in there, and it's, staying there for a while.
So you can add a chiller to your pool, and it's cheaper than buying a cold plunge for your backyard if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But so darker plaster makes the water warmer. Everybody's different. I have a chiller. I've never used it because I like warmer water. You like cooler water. So you have to think like that everybody's different. And that's why pools are cool, because we make them for you.
Yeah.
And nobody else's.
And to have the option, right? It's not even if you don't need it. If you do notice it being, 92 degrees, you can drop it on, and next day it's down to 85, 86.
And we prep for chillers too. We put a pad down so it's easy for us to pop one down. You just need 60 amps or 50 amps to get to the thing. So As long as you have enough power to your home, then you're good. And I think we had to redo your power too, didn't we?
No,
No, we didn't have to. We just had to do some power line setback stuff.
Yeah, for center point, yeah, we needed to move the point at which it connects from the power line to the house.
Yeah.
We needed to move it down the line basically so it wasn't over the pool. It was
Center
more behind
point,
the garage.
you're a pain in the ass. You're a pain in my ass. I know I'm supposed to be looking at him, but I'm talking to you. It's just this center point, you guys, a little bit of him over there. Call me. I can help you. He's great as you could go work there. You do systems and processes for companies and work yourself. Go to Centerpoint, please, and go work yourself out of a job there. Cause dude, they're a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
They really are. And I have friends that work there. And they might, but it's trash.
Open opinions.
Yeah. Little customers. We just did one in like West U and it took us 9 months in permits.
Yeah. It took ours 4 or 5.
Yeah. It's a rectangle, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll fill it up with water. We'll make sure it drains to the street. And
That one guy that number that you had, he was really good at, getting to the bottom of things and escalating things.
That was like the manager of Centerpoint.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't have to.
It was
go
like
to
the
that.
guy. Yeah. We appreciate you.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in my phone. Thank God. I have friends that work there and like they're tied up because it's not them. It's the process.
Yes.
That's what you do. Isn't that ironic?
Yeah, I know.
So anything else you want to talk about? Your kids enjoy it?
No, our kids love it. I will say if anyone building a pool, make sure you take into consideration benches. If you have little ones or planning to have kids,
They love yours that you did.
and the sun shelf. Like our youngest is a year and a half, right? And we have a 19-foot sun shelf, right? And he loves it. Maybe we can just let him go,
Yeah.
And the only thing I would say, that would be nice if we designed something in to be like a barrier so he couldn't fall off the steps.
Right.
If you could somehow put in like some posts or I wish we would have taken that into.
But then we fight it because they're ugly and we
That's
want
all right. Yep.
Seriously, I have a guy right now. He's doing like, it's expensive. It's an expensive project, and he wants a lane marker. And I'm like, bro, can we do a gray one so it doesn't look like red and white, like Michael Phelps Olympic pool stuff?
Yeah.
He bent on that, so
Yeah.
I got that out of it just because it goes from 4 feet to 9 feet. He's just he's got he's unique. Yeah, for his design and architecture. All right, well, I think we'll end it there. So thanks for coming in and
problem.
buy a pool from Regal.
That's right.